As we reported earlier, President Biden wrapped up his first trip to the Middle East today at a meeting of 10 regional leaders led by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The trip largely focused on Saudi Arabia's human rights record and President Biden reversing his promise to make Saudi Arabia a pariah state. But there was also talk of oil and whether Saudi Arabia would produce more, possibly easing gas prices. Last night, correspondent Nick Schifrin sat down with Adel Al-Jubeir, the Saudi Minister of State for Foreign Affairs.
Do you believe that these meetings mean that President Biden has decided not to make Saudi Arabia a pariah?
I believe that quote was during the campaign, and the campaign is what I call the funny season. Lots of things happen, but people have a different perspective once they're in office and have access to intelligence and information, and they look at the vastness of the relationship. So it's a critically important relationship, and it's important that we have continue the tradition of personal contact between the leadership of our two countries.
One of the points of contention that President Biden's pointed out is human rights, and tonight he specifically said that he brought up Jamal Khashoggi's death to the Crown Prince. The president said that MBS said he was not personally responsible for it, and then the president said, I indicated to him that he probably was responsible for it. Is that how that went?
I didn't hear that exchange, that particular exchange. What I heard is that the president talked about the importance of human rights to the United States, and that human rights is an issue that American presidents attach great importance to, even though sometimes they don't live up to those ideals, which makes America human like the rest of the world.
Did the president bring up Jamal Khashoggi?
He mentioned the issue of Jamal Khashoggi, and he said that this is an issue that has generated a lot of interest and concern in the U.S. Congress and among the American public, and that he knew what Saudi Arabia's position was, and the Crown Prince indicated that Saudi Arabia did what every civilized country would do. We investigated, we brought charges against those who committed this crime. The courts rendered their verdicts, and those individuals were punished. America did this after Abu Ghraib. Nobody can say that George Bush as president was responsible or ordered Abu Ghraib.
President Biden said tonight that the Saudis, quote, share the urgency about lowering oil prices. Will Saudi Arabia push for OPEC Plus to increase oil production in the next few weeks?
Saudi Arabia's policy has always been to make sure that there are adequate supplies of oil that go to the markets.
Adequate is a different word than the president used.
Whatever the markets need. We try to ensure that the markets are adequately supplied. This has been our policy for a number of decades now.
With all due respect, that doesn't sound like you're going to increase production in the next few weeks, as the president hinted.
No, we have increased production over the last 9 months tremendously. There will be an OPEC meeting on the 3rd of August, I believe, and decisions will be made with regards to whether the market needs more crude or not. So it's not a yes or no.
Let's talk about Iran. U.S. and Israeli officials I speak to say the breakout time in Iran is just a few weeks, but that actually creating nuclear bombs might take as much as 2 years. Is that the Saudi assessment as well?
I can't comment on terms of specific assessments, but our view is that the Iran acquiring a nuclear weapon is extremely dangerous to the world and extremely dangerous to our region. We believe that Iran should be prevented from acquiring a nuclear weapon with all means possible. We believe that the JCPOA in its original form was too weak and too limited.
And therefore the deal that's on the table currently is also too weak and too limited?
We believe that any agreement has to ensure that Iran can never produce a nuclear weapon. Our criticism of the original deal was that it had a limit on how many years Iran was restricted from enriching, and it also had a limit with regards to the extent of the inspections. The inspections were very intrusive, but they were not broad enough.
The Crown Prince 4 years ago said that if Iran were to go nuclear, Saudi Arabia would also go nuclear. Has Saudi Arabia taken any steps toward that decision, given how close that breakout time is in Iran?
We certainly would not be discussing this on television, but we have pointed out the danger of Iran going nuclear. We believe that it will contribute to proliferation in our region, and our position was very clearly articulated.
Will Saudi Arabia take further steps of normalization toward Israel so long as there is an occupation by Israel of the Palestinians?
It's not about normalization. Our objective is to have peace, and our objective is to have peace in which you have two states living side by side in peace and security, and both states prospering. We believe that when you reach that point, then everything is possible. But we believe that the Israelis have to take certain steps in order to try to make that happen.
Bahrain, Jordan, Egypt, and of course the United Arab Emirates have political normalization, but they also, according to Israeli officials, have military and intelligence cooperation with the Israeli military. Is that something that the Saudi military is willing to do?
We see the countries that signed agreements with Israel under the so-called Abraham Accords, and we're beginning to see some impact of those decisions on the Israeli domestic politics with regards to the benefits of having peace, and we hope that those positive changes will continue and lead to a more forward-leaning policy within Israel towards an accommodation with the Palestinians.
So that sounds like that kind of cooperation, military to military intelligence cooperation, these are simply steps that you're not willing to take yet.
There are, it's difficult to take steps in the absence of peace agreements.
Adel Al-Jubeir, thank you very much.
Thank you.